All right, I have no idea if I popped in early there, but it's so annoying. That video sometimes just doesn't play for me, and I have no way of knowing in advance whether it's going to play or not. So, I just look, I'm here. Who am I? I'm Paul Britton. I am the host of Real Real Talk, and I got a movie and another movie to talk about. So that's what we're here to do. Intro or no intro, full thing went off or maybe not. I might have cut it off a little bit. We'll find out at some point. You know what we're going to find out quicker, though, is my thoughts on They Will Kill You. All right. So They Will Kill You is the first time major Hollywood release directorial debut for I think he's Russian guy named Kirill Sokolov. Comrade Sokolov. Estonia. Oh, okay. It says, all right. No, he's Russian. But he got his start in with a film that debuted at the Estonia Film Festival. So that's where I saw Estonia. Okay. Anyway, look. It's got Zazie Beetz in it. And that's really, I mean, if you're watching movies right now and you're not familiar with Zazie Beetz, catch up. That's all I got to say, because Zazie Beetz is kind of fucking awesome. I would say my first absolute, oh yeah, I know, I remember her from that movie was Deadpool 2. I think I suppose it's entirely plausible that I saw her in something earlier. I don't see, she was in Geostorm. I barely remember that movie. I definitely don't remember her. And everything before that, I'm going. I do not see anything she was in before Geostorm where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember her from that. But in Deadpool 2, she played Domino. And that was, I really liked Deadpool 2, but she was by far the best thing in Deadpool 2, and how she wasn't brought back to be in Deadpool Wolverine. I look, I'm not privy to such things. I can tell you this: I would not have made another Deadpool movie without having Domino and Zazie Beetz Domino in it. She is so good in that movie, and she's just been in anything I see her in. She's just like, yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. This year already, she was in Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which quick reminder, I wanted to love it. I only really liked it. That's okay though. She was fantastic in it. And I remember seeing the trailer for They Will Kill You, and it's like, so you're gonna give me a movie where a woman just goes into a hotel and kills a bunch of Satan worshipers, and that person is Zazie Beetz. I was in, man. I just instantaneously in, and you know, the trailer, the trailer is not, so some people like trailers, some people don't like trailers, and this trailer is probably one of those trailers where it's like, well, why would I need to go see that movie? I saw everything that's in the trailer. And it's like, no, like the plot here is super thin. Like, let's just not, like, I already told you what the plot is. Chick goes into gets a job in a hotel, has to kill Satan worshipers or get killed herself. That's it, man. That's your movie. And yeah, you get that move. There are obviously subtleties built in throughout, but most of those subtleties are relatively unimportant. And you're not going to this because you're going to have a revelatory experience with the plot of the movie. You're going into this because somebody is using a machete to kill Satan worshipers. Yeah, there are twists like, oh, it turns out the Satan worshipers are immortal. Look, did I spoil anything for you? No, I flat out didn't. Why? Because it's fine, and turns out that within the plot mechanism of the movie that's kind of important. You know, we actually get to meet Satan. How often do you get to meet Satan in Satan worshiper movies? I'd say not every time. This time you get to meet Satan, and it's pretty badass. Um, I just I'm gonna this let the year is 1987, 88, and 88, and Die Hard starts a trend of movies that are Die Hard but blank, i.e., Die Hard but on a bus speed, Die Hard but in a submarine, uh, under siege, Die Hard but blah blah. Like that just became the way to do a movie, was a single guy fighting off a whole bunch of terrorists. John Wick did the same thing. Okay, John Wick did the same thing, and what John Wick did was single person that has to brutally slay their way through a whole bunch of bad guys for various whatevers, for whatever reason. And the driving force, you could either say, well, the idea for John Wick is either John Wick goes through the Russian mob. And so you could say, oh, it's John Wick, but instead of the Russian mob, it's Satanists. Well, or you could say, you could use the motivating factor for kicking off the slaughter, where it would be John Wick because they killed his puppy, and so here it's John Wick because her sister is trapped in a Satanist hotel. Oh, I gave another plot point away. It's all right. I'm not spoiling anything. Because again, you're not going to see John Wick to find out why he goes and kills a whole bunch of people. Not to mention the fact that they killed his puppy becomes a meme instantly upon the movie being released. You don't care that he's going through the Russian mob. There's just you care because he's just killing a whole bunch of people in a super badass way. And that's what this is. This is killing a whole bunch of Satanists in a really badass way in a hotel. They even steal like John Wick camera angles and it's the John Wick, the most recent movie, where it was like they did the camera angle from up above and followed John Wick as he went through a house, as if it was like the Clue movie, Clue game board, room to room. This was slightly different. Instead of being up in a house, up above, it's to the side, and you follow Zazie Beetz as she makes her way through the hotel. The other fun thing this movie did was the guy who directed it was just blatantly, obviously a huge Wes Anderson fan, because there are so many instances where the picture is framed in as if the room is the presentation, the camera is looking at a stage, and all of the action is happening on that stage. And so like it's there's a term for it. It's like box filming or something like that, and it's super fun. And I love being like, oh, I am now watching Wes Anderson, but she has a butcher's knife and she's trying to kill this dude. It's fun. I like it. Is this the best movie ever made? No. Is it the best movie of 2026 so far? No. Like, Project Hail Mary is that. Is this the most fun you're going to have in a theater experience so far 2026? Maybe. That's what it is. You're going for fun. You're going for machete kills, and you're going for butcher knife kills, and you're going to see Satan come alive in a pig's head. Here at Real to Real Talk, We do tacos instead of stars. And if we feel like something deserves a little extra, instead of doing a half a taco like you might do with a half a star, we add guac. And why? Because nobody eats half a fucking taco. No such thing as a half a taco, but we do get guac. And so that's why we land on 3 tacos plus guac. Just a perfectly fun movie. The guac is blood splattered guac. Like they're giving the guac away because just somebody of vat of blood got into the guac and now they just have to give it away. The next movie I'm doing is the AI doc or How I Became an Apollo. I can't believe it. I botched this title twice and I knew I was going to botch it once because I knew I would not be able to say apocalyptimist on the first try. But the fact that I botched the first part, which I shouldn't have, F minus. The AI doc or How I Became an Apocalyptimist. And they explain what an apocalyptimist is in the movie and it's funny. All right. It's a documentary. It's a documentary where a dude, an artist, by the name of, hold on, I gotta bring up my other thing. An artist by the name of Daniel Rohr, Dan Rohr, is he gets married. He's living his life as an artist, and he is confronted by he previously directed the documentary Navalny, which was pretty interesting. And he is confronted with AI, and he's trying to make heads or tails of AI, and it gets to the point where he's bothered by it enough that he needs to find out more, but the context in which he needs to find out more is more complex than what he can get just by like reading and watching news clips and stuff. So he decides, I'm going to make a documentary where I interview the people because I want to ask the questions and I have questions. I want to get answers to my questions and I'm not going to leave AI to answer my questions. So I got to talk to the people. And the presentation of the documentary is we start with here are the people who are saying AI is super powerful. It has the potential to be great. But the reality is that anytime human beings have been confronted with a power or an opportunity like this, there's no reason to believe that humans will do anything but, self-destruction. And so therefore with AI, we are barreling down towards self-destruction. Think Terminator. The other, and that's like the first half of the first act. The second half of the first act is so he hits his nadir after talking to the doom and gloom folks. And then he talks to the Pollyanna guys who paint the rosy picture of AI is going to revolutionize human existence because never before have humans been able to dedicate themselves to endeavors that they want to do because they are able to hand off the things that they have to do to something that they're not exploiting, that can do everything they can do, but faster, cheaper, quicker. I mean, faster, cheaper, better, not quicker. And so therefore, the AI is going to once the AI is able to do all of these tasks that humans would rather not do, they can start focusing on things they want to do. And so he hears both sides. He's like, I don't know which way to go. And then the second act is bringing in people who are more pragmatic about the situation, where it's like, yeah, we could end up just destroying all of mankind. And yeah, you could end up in a scenario where everybody's life is exponentially better. But the reality of the situation is that in order to end up here, everybody has to cooperate with each other, and there's no way that every nation is going to is going to approach AI with total benevolence, and so therefore there's always going to be a push and pull. The problem that I had with the documentary, and I'm going to just go ahead and say it, I'm cutting ahead a little bit, is that at no point did anybody say the other problem with this is that capitalism fucking sucks, and there's no way that people are just going to be like, sure, we're going to let AI do your job, and here's everything you need to live and be happy, so that you can go off and just podcast about movies all the time, or maybe even create a movie for yourself, or do those things that you want to do to expand your being as a human, rather than expanding your role within the cogs of our capitalist nightmare. Just that the Pollyanna side just completely ignores the realities of capitalism, which is just absurd. It's just fucking absurd. And the Pollyanna side. Now, I don't agree with the doom and gloom guys either. Like that's not me saying, oh well, I'm Pollyanna too. That's me just saying, like, there's way too much self-interest within the people that are involved to get that far down the rabbit hole where, like, oh my God, 50% of the population is destroyed because AI decides what the fuck do we need you for. There is a middle ground where AI makes people who can't afford to be a part of the capitalist nightmare lives terrible and worse. But if you're, on the downward slope of the bell curve, things might get better for you. And maybe we can push the bell curve to the right a little bit and flatten it out a little bit. Probably not. Like that. But maybe we can flatten it a little bit. Like that would be nice. If AI could flatten the bell curve of wealth distribution, that would be fucking amazing. I can't fathom the scenario where that happens under current situations. But and then the third act is, all right, we need to bring in the big dogs, and they go out and look for AI the AI CEOs. Thank God they didn't find fucking Elon Musk, because I probably would have just walked out. It's interesting. It's a really interesting doc. I think it's super fair. There can be criticisms that everybody that comes on to the doc and presents their point of views has a severe personal stake in what they're selling, and the doc doesn't do enough to raise the red flag of this is what this person is trying to sell and why, and doesn't do enough to push back on the people who are trying to sell by saying, look, stop selling and let's talk about reality. One of the things I mentioned was never mention capitalism within the confines of this, which I think is just egregious. And you cannot have a conversation about what does AI do for humanity without saying, and before we address that, let's talk about the hellscape that capitalism can create within the scope of AI. They hit upon, well, so what are these people going to do? And it's during the AI part, and it's like, well, they could be poets. It's like, bull fucking shit. Like that's not how society works. We have set up a society that is fully wealthy enough to support everybody, but has no interest in actually doing that. So don't tell me that just because AI is going to allow people to suddenly, hoard more wealth, that's the thing that breaks it and says, all right, we're going to start sharing. No, it's not there. That is not going to give the awakening. I'd love it if I were wrong. But I do feel like it does a good job. I do feel like that that criticism, meaning they don't do enough to explain what people's pre preordained, biases are. I I don't. It's a documentary that these are people presenting their views. I don't feel like they need to do that. Like I feel like you kind of know what their biases are going to be, and and it they they definitely question those biases enough so that you understand that, look, this person's, but again, you don't need to scream it to the hilltops. You have biases. Yes, everybody's gonna have biases. Like, and when the CEOs come on, do they do a sales pitch? To an extent, they do a bit of a sales pitch, but also I felt like the doc did a pretty decent job of not letting them pigeonhole everything they say into a sales pitch. So, yeah, I mean, AI doc, I saw it in a theater. I'm glad I did. Documentary certainly suitable for home viewing, but hey, go see it in the theater and give it 3 tacos. That's where I landed on it. I liked it. I liked it. It wasn't perfect, and I feel like I've kind of highlighted some of the problems I had, but it really does do a great job of presenting the different angles and where everything is not where everything is going, but certainly the possibilities and where things are trying to get to. And it's a little scary, but it's also at least informative, and that's what this kind of doc. That's what I'm looking for. Once again, this is Real to Real Talk. I am your host, Paul Britton. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Next week, we've got Super Mario Brothers, baby. So, uh, it's the first summer movie. That's what I'm going to say. It is the first summer movie. Summer starts Easter weekend, at least in the movie world. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next.